Speaking Human.
Today, on a very special episode of Speaking Human, we bust out the barbecue, beer barrels, and body paint to cheer wildly as a band of vicious competitors vie for the glory on Super Bowl Sunday. That's right, we're talking about the brutal battle for brand supremacy during the big game. Find out who came out on top and who just flushed millions down the porta-john.
Speaking Human.
Welcome to Speaking Human, the official podcast of Monsters Unlimited, a creative agency with a business brain. I'm Shad Conley, and I have no idea why a goat is eating my Doritos.
And I'm Patrick Jebber, and I can't help you with this podcast, Shad. I'm on a quest for milk.
This is your first time checking out the podcast. Each episode, we explore a different marketing topic and review the latest efforts from brands and businesses in that arena. On this special edition of the podcast today, we'll be looking at the marketing winners and losers from the Super Bowl. What commercials made us laugh, made us cry, made us cringe. Today, we'll give you our picks for the good, the bad, and the ugly of Super Bowl marketing. So let's get into it. So the Super Bowl, not only is this, the biggest day of the year in football, or as I like to think about it, the one time of year people actually look forward to watching commercials. No other time like it, and we've seen each year that it kind of gets bigger and bigger, and the hype builds. More pressure is on these brands and companies who pay millions to put one of these spots on. Patrick, what do you think about the Super Bowl, the attention people actually pay to marketing at this time of year?
It's a lot like Thanksgiving and Black Friday, how it gets bigger and bigger every year. 30-second spots, roughly $4 million. Typical commercials in the Super Bowl, they run roughly about $1 million just to produce them. That's a whole lot of money, man. It's also a lot of people seeing your brand. So
there's definitely a lot of exposure, and it is a lot of pressure on them, because if you come out, if you're one of these companies or agencies that makes these commercials and you come out with something that people don't really respond to and you blew all that money on it, it's not good.
Yeah, nobody's going to be asking you to do their commercial next year.
Yeah, well, not only that, and it's not just during this time, the buzz on these continues. We're sitting here talking about these now, and people for months to come, view these things online and debate and discuss. It's the one time of year when this sort of bleeds into the pop culture, when the kind of stuff we talk about all the time on the podcast here becomes like normal conversation on the couch.
Yeah, and nowadays, you spend $4 million on a commercial, they're going to bleed that thing for everything they can get,
Yeah. I'll kick it off here today.
The Best Pre-Game Buzz Award.
My first one is actually, walks the line of what you consider a Super Bowl commercial. Best pre-game buzz for a commercial technically wasn't on during the Super Bowl. And that was for the Kate Upton washes the all-new Mercedes-Benz CLA in slow motion. The title kind of explains it all. It features Kate Upton, who's a model, who's been in the SI swimsuit issue. Teasing parody of a lot of these Super Bowl videos where sex sells, where they kind of do these long, slow camera shots of, blowing soap bubbles off her hand. And then you find out that there's a bunch of little kids in football jerseys who are just washing the car for us. This commercial made a lot of noise because it was, released before the Super Bowl and stirred up some controversy over the, sexualized content. I actually thought it was a good commercial that did a good job of kind of parodying a lot of these Super Bowl videos. And I thought it was a lot better than the actual commercial Mercedes-Benz aired during the Super Bowl, which featured William Dafoe as the devil and the Rolling Stones song Sympathy for the Devil.
Yeah, I agree with you. The William Dafoe one, it was okay. I didn't hate it.
Why don't you give us one of your top picks, Patrick?
Well, I'll go with another car commercial. The Audi.
The Underdog Award.
So I'll give you a little description. The kid gets ready for prom, right? Kid's dad gives him the keys to his Audi, like that would never happen. Kid drives to school and parks in the principal's space. Right? Kid walks into gymnasium and kisses the homecoming queen. That's believable. Whole gymnasium stops. Kid gets punched in the face. Kid drives off remembering the look on the girl's face when he kissed her, because that's bravery. The car that you drive can play a huge part in how you feel. Drive a $73,000 Audi S6 and you might just feel brave, or you might feel scared out of your mind that you're going to wreck the damn thing. Either way, I really liked this one.
I also like that commercial. I thought it was, it was one of the first that I saw actually during the game, and it grabbed my attention. Bravery campaign idea. I don't know that I totally get that as it relates to Audi. What's brave about it? Buying an expensive car? I don't know.
They're brave. In fact, they could put that price tag on it and not get beat to death.
I thought it was a very polished, well put together commercial. I guess they're trying to appeal to like grown up versions of that kid who can actually afford that car.
I gave it the superhuman review because it tugs at the cape of bravery for me. It's like tugging at Superman's cape.
Well put. I'd probably give that one a human myself, but it's virgin. I liked it a lot. So let me move to another one of my categories here. This one's kind of a mixed bag, dealing with 2 commercials, 1 brand. I call this the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde Award.
The Jekyll and Hyde Award.
And this one I give to GoDaddy. Now, GoDaddy had a couple commercials on during the Super Bowl. One that I thought was really good, and one that I thought was awful. Hence, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The one that I thought was really good was their Big Idea commercial, where they would sort of have this cross-cutting between these people of different nationalities all over the world, sitting there basically, husbands and wives or friends, talking about how, I have this great idea. Don't worry, I don't need to do anything with it just yet. Nobody will ever take that idea. Nobody will ever use that idea. And then at the end, they show a very rich guy on a plane who actually did something with his idea. He got a website on GoDaddy. I thought it was a pretty good message of the idea. Go out and get your website or else somebody else is going to get it. As you know well, Patrick, as a collector of URLs. So that was the good one. The awful one, which I thought was awful, was the nerd making out with the supermodel Bar Raffaele. I'm not sure how you say her last name. In super close up, though, their mouths sucking at each other for about 30 seconds straight. The concept on that was, combining brains and beauty. I just thought it was one of the creepiest in a year when there was a lot of creepy ads. It was just, I don't want to watch these people's mouths up close for 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's actually one in my dishonorable mentions. And I got to tell you, man, ugh. That's all I got to say about that one.
Again, very well put. That was my exact feeling.
And I gave that a subhuman because it really grossed me out.
Yeah, that's also obviously definitely a subhuman for me. And on the other side, the other one is a superhuman for me.
All right, the Budweiser Clydesdale commercial. I liked this commercial. I found this one, it had this connection, this emotional connection for me. The bond between the Clydesdale and the man. I even like that the horse remembers the man and escapes, to give him the hug. I didn't give it a superhuman, but I gave it a human because it stays true to that Budweiser brand by showing the Clydesdales. That's not much, but it's something, right?
No, it's a definite tie, and those Clydesdale images do have some sort of, connection with people. People really like them. I'm probably with you on this. I give it a human. I knew it was one of those things. It's like a sappy movie or something. It's kind of manipulating your emotions, but it doesn't stop it from working.
Because the other Budweiser commercial, the Black Crown. Man, Black Crown is a pathetic attempt at making Budweiser look high class, sophisticated, and cool. I mean, really, everything that Budweiser isn't, they were trying to make it. Black Crown is like what people drink when they're in these clubs and, they're all wearing black. And it's just, I gave it a subhuman because I can't rate it any lower.
That one would be a subhuman for me. I think I said at one point when one of those commercials came on, because there were multiples of them, to my wife, I'm like, you ever been to a club like that? I don't know that clubs like that exist.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing is it's such a departure from what Budweiser is, what it stands for. It's a mediocre beer. I just feel like they're trying to be something that they're not.
Well, they are. They have this other product, and they're trying to appeal to different demographics than I think the usual. But it just seems like, when you can see somebody trying so hard to look cool, it makes them look way uncool. So why don't you tell us another one struck you in the heart of the brain, Patrick?
Senseless Animal Award.
I'll give a little description of it. Man walks down the street with a bag of Doritos. Man sees a sign of a goat for sale. Man buys goat. Goat eats all of man's Doritos. Goat gets mad that there are no more Doritos, of course. Why wouldn't he? Goat storms in on man, creating a goat for sale sign, and Goat doesn't look happy. Full circle, my friends. Full circle. So, I like that there's nothing even remotely iconic about this commercial. The branding is there, but other than that, it's just idiotic. Sure, the guy and the goat have this like small moment where they're bonding, eating Doritos, but it doesn't really go beyond that. The commercial is, to me, very surface level, and sometimes that works for me, you know, because it doesn't take any thought. It doesn't hurt that the goat screams when he finds out there's no more Doritos in the cupboards, because that, to me, that was such a funny and odd sound. And totally out of place.
So that was a positive for you. You liked that a lot.
I mean, I didn't give it a superhuman, but I gave it human because it tugged at my sense of humor.
Well, it's funny because I chuckled at that commercial. But I feel like there's got to be some sort of message that connects to the brand there attached. And I found nothing of that sort in that commercial. You know what I mean? It's just pure, strange kind of funniness and nothing else to get out of it.
Yeah, it's so absurd and it's just out there that you're just kind of like, what just happened? To me, sometimes that just works.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like there has to be a little more. Anyway, moving on.
I hear you. Like I said, it's surface level for me, but
it is. So that'd be, you gave it a human. I'd probably give it a subhuman.
Ah.
So while I'm on my negative kick, let me continue it here by giving out
the 15 minutes late award.
This is the one that needs to be put out of its misery, and that is the Wonderful Pistachios Gangnam Style commercial, where they altered the lyrics to Crackin' Gangnam Style.
Crackin' Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style. Crack, 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 crack.
There's not much more I could say about this other than, Psy and that song's 15 minutes are over. It just felt like it was way late to the party, and I was just, I'm to the point now where I hear that song and I'm like, ugh. I just felt like it was one of those things where it's like brand trying something to be hip, a little too late, no more. I put a ban on all Psy.
Yeah, and the thing, if this would have been the end of 2012, they might have still made it in under the wire, but...
Yeah, because we actually talked about that, months ago.
Funny how fickle we humans are.
Anyway, moving on here, I'll go into my last sort of category, and that is the best use of a celebrity in a commercial.
The best use of a celebrity award.
Super Bowl times, you see a lot of these celebrities pop up for better or worse in commercials. I thought the best one, and it was the best one for a couple of reasons, was The Rock in the Got Milk commercial.
I love that you picked this one, by the way.
The Rock, to me, is the perfect Got Milk spokesman. The whole idea, you look at this guy, you're like, you drink milk, you'll look like The Rock. Because The Rock is jacked these days, man. The other reason I really liked it is because, let me explain for a second how the commercial plays out for those who haven't seen it. The Rock he's at home, he realizes he's out of milk. So he starts running through the streets where all this chaos is going on. People are trapped in cars. They're like all asking him to help them, and he's like, no, I can't right now. And he just kind of runs off until he gets his milk, goes home, drinks his milk. That's when we find out the whole world is being taken over by aliens, and The Rock spends his day fighting them off and rescuing people. And it was an okay commercial. I don't know if it was great. I could think of better things you could do with The Rock and milk, but I like the use of him in general for that product. So it was probably a human for me.
Yeah, and I like it for all those same reasons. I do agree with you, though. There's something missing about it, though.
Now, it didn't quite go to that next level. I agree with you completely. You've kind of talked about throughout the show, Patrick. There's kind of two categories of your Super Bowl commercial. There's your, emotional or inspirational, and then there's your funny.
The best belly laugh award.
Oreo's done a lot of clever marketing over the past year, and I thought this was kind of another good one. Remind you, there's not just one thing that's good about this cookie. There's two. It's where it starts out with two guys in the library, and they're whispering, one's like, it's the cookie. The other's like, it's the cream. Fighting over what tastes better, the cookie or the cream of an Oreo. And then this fight escalates into this ridiculous, over-the-top series of things getting smashed, cops driving through walls, all the while everybody's whispering. So that really worked for me. I thought it was visually arresting, and I thought it gave me the heartiest chuckle of the day. So that was a superhuman for me in the comedy category.
The best inspirational Americana award.
On this sort of more emotional, inspirational side. Ram's God Made a Farmer spot. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
Which I thought was just incredibly well put together. But it also made just a lot of sense with the product, Dodge Ram, who you're appealing to, that particular audience. It was your typical, to me, inspirational Super Bowl ad. Kind of reminded me of the Clint Eastwood one from a year ago, the one that just gets in your heart, kind of inspires you a little bit. And I thought it made sense. Probably my favorite one of the day. So that was a superhuman for me. One last mention, and then we'll kind of wrap this up here. This was, I think, what happened with a lot of commercials. Some that were kind of interesting, some that weren't. There was a large middle of the pack. You know what I mean? Even the good ones I've talked about, I don't know if they were as good as some of the best Super Bowl commercials you've seen in the past. There was kind of that big, murky middle this year where it's just kind of like,
mediocre / sometimes even disappointing.
It's hard to live up to all the hype.
That's it for today's show. You can listen to current and past episodes of the podcast at speakinghuman.com. You can also subscribe to the Speaking Human podcast in the iTunes store. That's right, it's in the iTunes store. Email us with any feedback, questions, or inappropriate comments at ideas@thinkmonsters.com.
Also, I'd like to add, feel free to email us at ideas@thinkmonsters.com with how much you hated our picks on commercials and what your favorites were. We'd love to read your email on the air.
Hate email, preferably.
We're looking for a lot of good hate email. Thanks for coming to our Super Bowl tailgate spectacular. Just kidding, it's afterward. Damn it! We'll be back next time with more marketing chatter. Catch you then, humans.
Speaking Human.